7-footers, again, thank you as always for sticking around with us.
Thanks, guys.
We are in our second segment of free agency because it is so hot.
I have my tweet deck open in case more Woj bombs drop while we're doing it. So,
First of all, major props to Woj.
Well, listen,
as always.
That's why ESPN paid him a gajillion dollars, right?
As always, but Woj is on it.
Woj is always on it. Woj is on it.
This free agency. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about the deal that I wasn't really in favor of. CP3 signs a $4 million. $4 million.
4 year.
That's it. $4 million. He signs a 4-year deal to the Rockets, $160 million, the max deal, which means he's going to make what, $40 million a year.
So I think it's like the way it's backloaded. It's like 38 in year one, and 42 points I think in year 4. Regardless, it averages out to $40 million a year.
Okay, so 38 years old, CP3
making $40+ million a year. That is what concerns people, and I get that. But as you know,
tell me,
when they had the sign and trade,
was this wrong? Was this the wrong deal?
It's not the wrong deal because, again, this squad, as we all remember just less than a month ago, was less than a game away, a quarter away from going to the NBA Finals.
You're right.
Listen, CP3 got hurt. Now, that is part of the issue with him. He is always going to be hurt, right? Hamstring. He's going to have some nick or some knack. And the history of small guys, and CP3 is, we're being generous when we say 6 foot. He's probably closer to 5'11", but let's say 6 foot. The history of the league on small guys is not good, okay? Yeah. So yes, but if they find a way to win a title in the next year or two, that contract is worth it.
I agree, 100%.
It's worth it. Now, the problem, of course, is this deal is sort of like LeBron to LA. We already knew about it. They had to give him the max because when they did the sign and trade with the Clippers, Chris said, well, I'm not coming here unless you're extending me with the max. The old wink deal with Daryl Morey that we didn't know about.
And you called this.
But of course, because that's otherwise, why would he opt out of his deal in LA to get the max there, the super max, and come to Houston and make less money?
I agree.
Listen, these guys have a finite window of how much money they can earn. You got to take all the money you can while you can. And I know what you fans at home are saying, but they make so much money, Gerardo. I don't care. You do the same thing in your life.
When you dedicate I don't mean to cut you off, but this makes me angry too, and I know it does to you as well, when the fans tear them down. When you live your life, think about us. We go to work 5+ days a week, 7
days a week often.
7 days a week often. We're working 12-hour days, 14-hour days. These guys dedicate their entire lives from the minute they wake up to the food they put in their body to this.
Everything.
They deserve every penny
they get.
I can't stand when people argue about these contract situations.
It's just so silly. Listen.
And you feel the same.
They also have a finite window. These guys can't play basketball until they're 55 years old. Most of us in our careers can do what we're doing for a long time. Most of these guys, first of all, unless you're the top stars, you're not playing into your mid-30s. You're like if you make it to 30, okay? That's the window. What do you do the rest of the 40 years of your life? Or 50 years?
Exactly. And they have families. They have kids.
A lot of things going on. The other thing, too, is that, and I said this to you before, and smart people know this is the NBA. A multi-B, with a capital B, billion-dollar entity. There are 450 player jobs available. 30 teams, 15 roster spots. You have to be really good at basketball to make one of those rosters. And in a multi-billion-dollar organization with only 450 player spots, well, what do you think the salaries are going to be? Like, stop it with the whole, they make too much money. Like, it's asinine and stupid.
I agree.
And I don't want to spend so much time on it, but again, PSA for those of you out there, take an economics class, learn something. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. With Houston, we lose Ariza to the Suns.
Yeah, 1 year, $15 million. He goes to Phoenix. And look, that's going to hurt them from a defensive standpoint because Ariza was huge defensively in their identity and their ability to switch on everything. Look, as I said to you before, no one stops Kevin Durant. But Ariza makes it more difficult for him to score, right? And now with no Ariza, well, that's one less body to throw at Durant. That's problematic. But Daryl Morey is one of the better GMs. We just talked about it in last segment about the smart teams. Morey's one of the better GMs out there. There's a reason he let him go.
Yeah, there is a reason. Everything,
He figured, okay, I don't want to sign on to that much money. I'm thinking there's a move that Houston's going to make. I don't know what it's going to be, but they're not done. Yes, they're limited with the cap, with their max players. But look, their new owner might be willing to go deep into the luxury tax, which we'll get into when we talk about OKC in a minute. And they could do some things. And look, as they're presently constituted, Ariza not being there does make them slightly a little bit worse. But remember Ariza in the playoffs, he was one of those ones missing 27 threes in that pivotal
True,
game.
when we set that record.
So his offense wasn't great in
No.
the postseason. Matter of fact, it was awful. So they're not going to miss him on that end. And they do, if they give him the Joel Green minutes, Joel Green's a better offensive player, a worse defensive player.
Yes.
But, I think there's a plan there somewhere.
Give and take, yeah.
Give and take, and I think, again, Daryl's got a plan. They got that Ryan Anderson contract, which is a behemoth. They have to figure out how to get rid of, and who wants that thing? Because it's Ryan Anderson making almost $30 million a year. And again, that's that point again about, and Daryl's not immune to it, right? That's not a good signing. It's just not. And so many teams do that all the time, and it hamstrings you because again, who are you gonna get to take that guy? Nobody. No one's gonna take that guy. Although I'm sure there's probably a dumb team somewhere is probably gonna take that Ryan Anderson deal. So
what about Clint Capella?
That's sort of the big elephant in the room. Well, not a big elephant in the room, but that's a signing that they have to make, right? Because they can't also lose Capella. And
You can't.
No.
He owned the paint, as
he
we
was
said.
huge for them
this past
in the
season.
granted, wasn't as effective against the Warriors because of what they like to do, but still necessary for that team to move forward. And if their goal is a title, which it clearly is,
Yes.
he's going to be necessary. So again, Daryl's going to have to get creative in terms of his signings and what he's going to do. And look, they're going to have to get deep into the luxury tax. It's just because look, the Warriors are into the tax. If you want to compete with them, and that is what Daryl has come out and said numerous times, we are obsessed with beating the Warriors. Well,
They are.
Then you got a new owner. You better get into that tax, my friend.
With Daryl Morey being obsessed
Yeah.
with beating the Warriors,
Yeah.
I want to ask you now, with
Yeah.
all these moves that we're making,
Yeah.
and we have to say, the Rockets are this close. They're the closest team.
They pushed the Warriors through 7 games.
Yes, they did.
Again,
and we,
no Chris
said,
Paul injury.
Yep.
They might have won.
Yes, like we said, we would have a different conversation if CP3 was in the lineup and wasn't hurt.
For sure.
So my question is, does Daryl Morey have some tricks up his sleeves at this point?
He is, if not the best GM in the league, he's top 2, top 3. I mean, he knows how to work the cap. He's a smart guy. Look, I'm going to put a name out there. And I'm not reporting anything. I don't have any sources that have told me this.
This is no sources.
This is no sources say. This is just something I'm thinking of. Because
Okay.
of what's going on in Cleveland and with LeBron now gone, and obviously they're in clear rebuild mode because...
Oh my gosh.
I mean-
Jeff Green is gone as of today.
I mean, Green's out of there. I mean, you think you're going to the playoffs with Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr., and Kevin Love? I don't.
Jordan Clarkson's really mad right now that he left LA.
He's real mad. But Kobe Altman, Cavs GM, may think about what can I get in return for an asset that I have. What's an asset they have that might have some value?
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love. He might look nice in a certain red uniform in the Western Conference. Again, no sources say. I'm just putting that out there as
These are
goosebumps.
goosebumps.
just gonna put that out there. Maybe not. Again, you have to figure out the cat machinations, and there's a lot going on there.
How
And,
much do you think Kevin Love is worth to the Rockets?
I mean, listen, he could be a huge piece. Because look, everyone thinks of Kevin Love as like some terrible player. Remember, this is a guy who I often think was used incorrectly in Cleveland. This is an All-NBA guy when he played in Minnesota. 25 and 12. I mean, this is a guy who can shoot the 3 and listen.
Good track record. Good from the outside.
Listen, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
All right. So estimated, what number would you put on him? To the Rockets.
Well, so I have to see what his contract. I mean, he is still under contract, so the salaries would have to match up. Well, here's the question. You probably have to figure out, would Kobe Altman take the Ryan Anderson deal? Because that's the contract that has to move off Houston's Bucks.
Yes.
So you have to get a third team involved. Maybe if you get one of those third simple teams in there, maybe like the Orlando Magic or one of those organizations that tend to do things not so smartly. We figure them in the deal. Hey, listen, Morey's a smart guy. 3-team trade. We figure something out, but Ryan Anderson for sure has to come off the Bucks.
Okay, I get it. I mean, time will tell, as we know.
Time will tell.
And I mean, time's very short within this free agency box.
Yeah.
On to the next one.
On to the next.
PG, Paul George, kind of surprises some, doesn't surprise many, when he signs a 4-year deal to OKC again, $137 million, 3-year, 1-year player option, and then posts a photo with Russ smoking cigars after that says they have unfinished business.
I mean,
so
what's their-
was this shocking that Paul George stayed?
Yes and no. Yes, from the standpoint.
I want to hear both sides.
Okay, yes, from the standpoint of all we heard about was LA with Paul George,
Yeah.
right?
That's where we all thought he was going.
That's where a lot of us thought he was going. But then things started getting a little interesting. Remember when PG-13 sent out that tweet? I want to do the decision that makes the most people happy. Here's the problem with that. And KD faced a little bit of this when he was going to Golden State, but he decided, I'm going to make me happy. That was the difference that he made. Good luck with that, because you're never going to please people. So yes, he took the route that made sense, in the sense that now he's going to get no backlash, because it's, oh, he's staying with Russ in the heartland in OKC, and they're going to try to work real hard and get those people of Oklahoma City a title they deserve. Which, by the way, fan bases, newsflash, and I can't tell you this, but I want you to understand what I'm saying. I'm not attacking you. You don't deserve anything. You don't. You don't deserve a title. You don't. If you have a good team that you root for in your home city, that is your team, and they have good ownership and good GM and good players, you have a chance to win a title. But you don't deserve anything. You just don't. So the move was good, because there's going to be none of that fallout backlash, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, Paul's going to stick it out and stay in there. Secondly, very smart strategic move by him, in the sense that...
Why was it smart?
It was smart because if the Thunder don't win a title or don't advance far in the playoffs, who do you think is going to get blamed on that team?
Russ.
Sounds like a win to me. Sounds like a win to me. So let me get this straight. I can get a max deal. Russ, go nuts, buddy. Shoot 50 shots a game. Because if we lose, they ain't looking at me. They looking at you.
I mean, and that's
Brilliant.
the heavy load that you take when you're the face of a franchise.
Listen, when Paul George had that horrific injury during Team USA a few years back,
We didn't think he'd make it back.
no, and he's made it back pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
I think that changed his mindset about how he wants to approach things.
And how he wants to live his life, ultimately.
I think he wants to assure himself and guarantee more stability long term. And
Yep, I agree.
So he's 4-year deal.
He's making
cool.
the life decision.
Right? He's not tethered to LeBron James, right? In the way that, well, if LeBron, let's say, decides to do something different, there's no pressure on him going there, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But staying in Oklahoma City, the pressure is all on Russ. And
He still makes that change.
and he makes all the money, right? Because again, think about it. This squad, this old hashtag unfinished business, okay, well,
What does unfinished business mean?
apparently losing in the first round because
wow.
well, because the year before, when it was just Russ, they lost in 5 games, I believe, in the first round. This year, they lost in 6 games in the first round. And that was with Paul George and with Melo. So let me get this straight. You added 2 All-Stars to your team, and you improved by 1 game in the postseason.
Is anybody... Good point. Is anybody evaluating that?
So, funny you asked that, Jenna. That brings me to my next rant, or whatever you want to call it. We need to talk about Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder, okay?
Preach.
You do recall some years back, the Oklahoma City Thunder one year drafted a 7-foot skinny kid out of the University of Texas named Kevin Durant.
Is he the 7-foot sniper
Yeah,
where
you-
we know him as the 2-time Finals MVP, right?
You might have heard of him.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I think I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
They also drafted a point guard the next year by the name of Russell Westbrook.
Oh,
from
yeah,
UCLA.
I think I heard of it. MVP, triple-double king. Yeah.
Cool. They also drafted a left-handed guard from from Arizona State University by the name of James Harden. He's got a beard, plays for the Rockets.
Yeah. He was the MVP this past season. Yeah.
OKC had 3 future MVPs on their squad.
Yeah, sounds about right. And they still have the same
So that squad,
GM?
same GM, that squad went to the finals. against LeBron and the Heat in 2012.
Yeah.
Lost in 5 games. Everybody was like, hey, this Oklahoma City team, boy, watch out for them. Because they were young when they went to the finals. Remember, they were down 0-2.
That was like pre-beard.
Yeah, oh, he still had the beard. They were down,
like a mini. Like a mini.
They were down 0-2 to the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals and then blitzed the vaunted Spurs 4 games straight because the Spurs had no answer for Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. None. And the Western Conference GMs were looking around saying, we are in trouble. This is the next dynasty. But, as you
That
know...
quickly unfolded.
As you know, that didn't quite work out. And why didn't that work out? Well, James Harden was going to be up for free agency in the next summer.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City front office and ownership group were like, hey, we're not sure about this. James wants an extra $8 million over the life of his contract. What if we do that? We're going to get into the luxury tax. So what? You just went to the
You have
finals.
James Harden.
And it's James Harden. Granted, he wasn't the James Harden he is now, but
But so you just went to the finals.
he just went to the finals.
Do you want to go to the finals more?
I would.
Right?
I would.
So when you signed that deal?
I would. So they decided we don't want to go into the luxury tax, so we're going to trade him preemptively to not because he could walk next year in free agency and we'll get nothing back. Okay, sure enough. Well, of course, we know the next year the cap spiked, so of course you could have kept Harden. So you had, and then we know what happened. KD eventually left in free agency, and now Russ is the lone MVP there. So you had your own homegrown big three, which could you imagine?
Literally.
Could you imagine that big three? Mind you, I will also say this. Had that team been kept intact, do we see the rise of the Golden State Warriors? I argue we don't.
We don't.
I argue
because
we
you
don't.
don't have Durant.
Well, you don't have Durant in this version. And honestly, a team with Harden, KD, and Russ is beating Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Sorry. They are.
You know right now, and for the past few months and however long you guys want to put the timeline, you know the front office in OKC is sitting there still kicking themselves.
Got to
and
be.
that's why people shouldn't give Durant flack.
Gotta be.
I'm sorry.
No.
In my opinion, and I don't mean this in any way, I don't know any details, but what's the loyalty in the front office of OKC? What is it?
And that's a big factor in why Durant left. Part of it was, playing with Russ was difficult, but KD never forgave them for trading Harden early. It's like, we just went to the finals.
And Harden hasn't looked back ever since.
Oh, no.
He is dedicated to Houston.
All good. All good. And guess what? KD's 2-time finals MVP, so he's good.
And him and Coach have the best relationship.
All good. Here's the problem with OKC now, though. Of their 3 MVPs, they kept arguably the worst one of the 3, and worse in quotes because Russ isn't a bad player.
No.
But Russ is a difficult player to be your lead player around,
Yes, he
right?
is. We've talked about
We've
this.
talked about this. So you've now gone into, with the salary they have right now, they are deep into the luxury tax. Almost $250 million
Oof.
for a worse version of a big three that you already have.
Yeah.
You already had a few years ago.
Yep.
And listen, I'm sorry, but Sam Presti and the ownership has to get blamed for that.
Well, then why aren't we getting rid of these men?
Look,
And that's a bigger question.
right.
But
And I'm not calling for Sam to get fired.
Dwayne Casey,
Well,
we're getting rid of him.
We are.
I mean,
Listen, and granted, Sam did what he did, and that mandate comes down from ownership. Ownership will tell GMs, I'm not paying luxury tax. And if he knows that's the case, he's like, well,
you got to work with what you have.
this is what I have to work with, okay? But again, you could have ran it back one more year, because here's the thing. That next year, Russ had gotten hurt. The following year, KD gets hurt.
Yeah.
But let's say that doesn't work out the same way.
Yeah.
And they go back to the finals. If they win and beat the Heat the next year, do you break that team up? Hell no. And the cap goes up, and you're like, we can keep these guys.
Exactly.
And the
then
guys
bring
want to run
on-
it back.
Yeah.
So, again, it's revisionist history. Things don't all work out the same. But OKC, it's the irony of, and I think what Sam has realized is, we lost a generational franchise talent in Kevin Durant. Well, we can't have that situation again.
I mean, now it's even a meme, like a joke. Like LeBron made it in the postseason press conference
No.
where he said something about,
What,
okay, somebody losing.
oh, well, yeah.
It was like a while.
Well,
back.
it was about it was about drafting because he was talking about Kevin Durant.
drafting,
and,
yeah,
and it was
but
like,
still.
I mean, everyone knows it's Kevin Durant. It's like, well, yeah. And look, OKC didn't want to listen. Sam Presti, if I gave him truth serum and I gave the brass of OKC truth serum, if they had their choice, Harden's already gone. So and they had to choose between keeping Russ or keeping KD. They're keeping KD 100 out of 100 times.
Okay, so if you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
if we dial this back and
Yeah.
say they keep KD, where does Russ go?
Well, that's the question. See, the other part of it is that they never had the right coach in place on that team to hold those three guys accountable, in particular Russ.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the gift and the curse with Russ is that sheer force of will, but sometimes it's stubbornness.
You're
and
right.
it's problematic because KD is a more efficient and better scorer. Now, KD sometimes will just settle and loaf and do things as well, so it's not all on Russ. But if they had the right coach in there to actually implement a system
Yeah.
that would work, could you imagine? And without that, they were Game 7, they were up 3-1 on the Warriors without that, right? But I think KD realized, look, we don't have the right things in place to ultimately topple a team like this because we eventually just rely on me and Russ. And if things are bogged down and teams don't know what we're doing, we have nowhere else to go. And again, listen, Scott Brooks, good guy. Billy Donovan, good guy. They never put in systems. And you're not going to get Russ an MVP to now change who he is. Because he's going to say to you, but I won the MVP
But I'm your guy.
playing this way. So you want me to change my... I'm not doing that.
No, there's
and
no argument
he would
there.
be right in that sense, right?
Yes, because they're relying on him, so he calls the shots.
And it's gotten them this far. But again, you have to look at that team, right? When they had KD, let's again take Harden out of it. They've advanced to the conference finals. No KD, they haven't gotten to the first round. And
It says a lot. It speaks a lot.
and look at this team right now. I don't see them. They're not better than Golden State. They're not better than Houston.
No.
Are they better than Denver? Are they better than... No, they're not better than Utah, clearly, because Utah beat them.
Hey, Utah is the.
Well, we know about Utah, your boy Donovan Mitchell. By the way, what's he up to? Have you been...
He's at Summer League.
Yeah, how do you know that? You guys been
He
chatting?
puts it on his social media.
Oh, okay, just want
It's
to...
all on his social media.
No, but are they better than these squads? I don't know. Are they better than the Lakers right now with LeBron James on it?
I don't know. No, not with LeBron. Sorry, not with LeBron James.
Well,
Let's be serious.
hey, and you are now deep into the luxury tax for a team at best maybe the 5th best team in the West.
Okay, so what moves do we make next? What is your perceived next move?
OKC has no moves to make next, I don't think. I mean, so the Melo thing's a problem because Melo was always going to opt in, and listen, Presti knew that when they brought him
You know
in.
how much flack they're getting though from that?
Well, they're going to try to buy him out. Is what that's the only thing they can do is hope they get a buyout.
Okay.
Or they eventually say, well, Melo, we're never playing you, so you either take a
and he won't
buyout,
come off the bench.
or he definitely ain't doing that. So, and again, how deep into the tax are they going to go? And also, what other stars and top players want to come to Oklahoma City? No offense to the fine people in Oklahoma City,
It's not
but
an ideal location.
it's not a destination.
Anyone
Sorry, it's
wants
just not.
to move to.
It's
No.
not. And again, playing with Russ, which is hard.
It's got to be very hard.
It's hard.
That's why I told you I was surprised that PG-13 signed that deal. I didn't realize how close they were.
Right, yeah,
And apparently
for sure.
that is the case,
Yeah.
but it
Again.
almost makes me ask, how does one get close to Russell Westbrook? and I know he's a great stand-up guy in person. He's
Right.
fabulous, but on the court, in the game,
It's hard, man.
it's apparently it's a hard task.
It is. And look, and again, I think it goes back to what I said in the beginning. PG was never going to be a lead guy on the team. Like, he's fine playing that next role.
Yeah, and he is okay with that.
And again, when things go bad in OKC, he's not getting the blame.
You're very
Russ
right.
is getting the blame.
You're very right.
So he's like, I'm going to collect my $40 million per, and that's cool. We'll make the playoffs. But when shit goes wrong,
They ain't gonna be talking about
it ain't going to be me they're coming after. It's going to be Russ. So
Okay. I mean, there is so much more news to be
Oh
had.
man, my God.
And we will obviously be on at the
Well,
7-footer.
just to quickly, ESPN Woj is reporting that the Suns are very close to signing a contract extension with Devin Booker, 5 years, $158 million, and that would be his rookie deal extension, I believe.
As he should get
Yeah,
that.
I mean, Devin
I'm
Booker's
sorry,
great.
if I'm Devin Booker, I'm obviously incredible, but I'm staying in with the Suns.
Listen,
I want that cash.
The Suns are setting themselves up well. Obviously, they got Ayton. They got Ariza on that 1 year, $15 million deal.
Nice.
And they did that because they want to be players next year, summer of 2019.
That's it.
That is going to be the summer where, again, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler is going to be a free agent.
And Jimmy Butler's a blast.
There's going to be some. Klay Thompson is also an unrestricted free agent in 2019. There are some players who, listen, folks, listen.
2019.
Get ready.
We are ready. And until then, the 7-footers will be with you guys each and every week, following the news, following the Summer League moves, everything, until we get to the regular season again. And we're here with you guys this
We are.
day. So can't get rid of us.
That's it, man. Thanks for watching.